Okay, so get this. You're in Kenya, right? Like strolling through a city at dusk, and bam, you see a lion just hanging out nearby.
Oh, wow.
I know, talk about a heart-stopping moment, right? But it's a thing in some parts of Kenya. Humans and lions, basically neighbors.
It's wild, isn't it?
Totally wild. So the question is, how can they actually live together peacefully?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question.
Well, that's what we're diving into today with this YouTube video from Planet Wild called The Genius Invention That Made Peace with Lions.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
And the answer, get this, is simpler than you might think.
It's pretty mind-blowing. Yeah, you're not talking about some high-tech gadget or some crazy strategy here. It's just pure ingenuity from a 12-year-old boy.
Wait, a 12-year-old? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm already hooked. Tell me more.
Okay, so this kid's name is Richard Turere, but before we get to his story, we got to remember something important about lions.
Right.
We always get caught up in how majestic they are, right? But they're not just these cuddly kings of the jungle. They're apex predators, and that role is super important for the whole ecosystem.
So it's not just about saving the lions themselves, it's about keeping that whole delicate balance going.
Exactly.
But the video said that lion populations have crashed by over 92% in the last century. That's insane.
Yeah, over 92% gone just in the last 100 years. It's crazy.
So how many are even left?
Only about 23,000 in the whole wild.
Wow.
It's not looking good, and without some serious help, they could be gone completely by 2050.
Oh, wow. That's heavy. All right. So that brings us to Kitengela, Kenya, which is where this whole story really unfolds.
Yeah, Kitengela is this unique place where habitat loss has basically forced lions and humans into these uncomfortably close quarters.
Oh, I see. So they're kind of on top of each other.
Pretty much, and it leads to all sorts of problems, especially for the Maasai people.
Right, the Maasai.
Who rely on their cattle for basically everything.
Their livelihood.
Yeah, it's not just their livelihood, though. It's their culture, their spirituality, their whole way of life.
It's everything.
It really is. You know, the video mentioned that the Maasai believe that all cows were a gift from heaven entrusted to them for safekeeping.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a really deep connection.
That makes sense why they would be so protected.
Exactly. So when a lion attacks and kills their livestock, it's not just a financial hit, you know?
It's like a spiritual attack almost.
It is. It shakes them to their core.
And I bet it makes them even more afraid of lions.
Definitely. And it's no wonder that some turn to retaliatory killings, you know, out of desperation.
Yeah, I can see how that would happen.
And that's the world that Richard grew up in, always aware of this tension between his people and these incredibly powerful predators.
I can't imagine what that was like for him as a kid.
I know, right? Can you picture it? You're this young Maasai boy seeing this devastation firsthand, knowing your own father was a famous lion hunter?
Wow, I bet he was terrified of lions.
Oh, absolutely. He admitted that he actually hated lions when he was younger.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, picture him as a kid spending night after night guarding his family's homestead, their boma.
With just a flashlight.
Armed with nothing but a flashlight, trying to keep the lions at bay.
That's a lot of responsibility for a child.
Yeah, it was. And it's actually during those long nights that his big breakthrough came.
Oh, really? How so?
Well, he started observing the lions and noticed something interesting.
What was that?
Lions are naturally cautious around humans, right? They see us as a threat.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So whenever Richard would shine his flashlight and move around, the lions would think someone was approaching and back off.
So simple, but so brilliant.
I know, right? He basically figured out how to mimic human presence without anyone actually needing to be out there all night.
So he could scare the lions away without actually being in danger himself.
Exactly.
And that's how lion lights were born.
You got it.
Okay, so tell me more about these lion lights. How do they work?
Well, the amazing thing is that Richard was completely self-taught. He just started tinkering around.
Oh, well.
Using all sorts of scrap parts, car batteries, motorcycle turn signals, old flashlights, you name it.
He built this thing out of junk.
Pretty much. And get this, it actually worked.
No way.
Oh yeah, lion attacks on his family's boma stopped completely.
That's incredible. Can you imagine the relief his family must have felt?
Oh, I bet it was a huge weight off their shoulders.
So what happened next? Did he start making these lion lights for other people too?
He did. Word spread pretty quickly, and soon everyone wanted lion lights.
Makes sense.
So he got a small team together and started improving the design.
What kind of improvements?
Well, they added solar panels for power and rechargeable batteries to make them last longer.
So he was thinking long term.
Oh yeah, he knew he couldn't just stop there. He had to stay ahead of the game.
What do you mean?
Well, lions are smart. You know, they could get used to the same flashing lights every night and figure out it's not a real threat.
Oh, that's true.
So he came up with a solution.
What was it?
Randomized flashing patterns.
Uh-huh. So they couldn't predict what was going to happen next.
Exactly. Keeps those lions guessing.
That's awesome. So how many people are using these lion lights now?
Okay, are you ready for this? Because this is where things get really exciting.
Anyway,
Lion lights have been installed on over 14,000 homesteads
14,000.
across Africa.
Wow, that's amazing. But does it actually work for everyone? Is there like a specific story that shows just how effective they are?
Oh, there are tons of stories, but one that sticks out from the video is about this Maasai herder named Richard Turere. He was just about ready to give up his entire herd. The lion attacks were so bad.
That's heartbreaking.
I know, right? But then they installed lion lights on his property, and guess what?
The attack stopped.
They completely stopped. It was a total turnaround.
That's incredible. Hearing that story really puts it into perspective.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just about numbers, it's about real people whose lives are actually being transformed by this simple solution.
That's what it's all about, right?
So what's next for Richard and his lion lights? This feels like just the beginning.
Oh, you're absolutely right. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Get ready to dive even deeper as we explore the wider impact of this invention and what it means for the future of humans and wildlife living together.
I'm ready. Let's do it. It's just amazing to me, this whole lion lights thing. It really shows you that even small actions can make a huge difference.
It really does.
I mean, we started with this 12-year-old tinkering around in his backyard, and now we're talking about something that's helping thousands of families, and lions are coming back.
It's incredible, right?
It's a total game changer.
It really is, and it shows you that innovation can come from anywhere.
Totally.
Richard wasn't some fancy scientist or engineer. He was just a kid with a problem to solve.
And he went for it?
He did. And it makes you wonder how many other brilliant ideas are out there just waiting to be discovered.
So many, probably.
Right? Like, what if we could all just tap into that kind of creative problem solving?
I love that. And it wasn't just Richard working on his own either.
Mm-hmm.
You know, his family, his neighbors, organizations like Planet Wild, they all helped him out and spread the word.
That's so important. You know, conservation is rarely a solo effort. It takes a whole community to make a real impact.
It's like a team effort, right?
Exactly. Everyone working together toward a common goal.
And the fact that the Lion Lights project is expanding to other parts of Africa is just incredible.
It really is. It's proof that this community-driven approach can work on a larger scale.
Sharing knowledge and resources is key.
Absolutely. And it's not just about protecting livestock either. You know, the fact that Kenya's lion population has increased by 25% in the last decade, that's huge.
That's amazing.
Yep.
So these efforts are actually helping to bring the lions back.
They really are. It's like this positive feedback loop. You know, coexistence leads to conservation, which benefits everyone.
It all comes full circle.
It does. But, you know, we also have to be realistic. Lion lights are amazing, but they're not a perfect solution.
Right. What kind of challenges do you think they might face down the line?
Well, one thing is adaptation. Those lions are clever. They might figure out eventually that the lights aren't a real threat.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
They're not dumb.
Not at all. So Richard and his team have to constantly adapt and come up with new ways to keep the lions guessing.
What are they doing to stay ahead of the game?
Well, they're always experimenting, you know, trying out different patterns, timings, maybe even sounds.
Wow, so they're not just sitting back and relaxing?
Nope, they're always pushing the boundaries of innovation.
That's great to hear. But I imagine keeping all those lion lights running across such a huge area must be really expensive.
It definitely is. Long-term sustainability is a big challenge.
What if the funding runs out?
That's where organizations like Planet Wild are so crucial. They don't just provide money, they also provide training and expertise to make sure the project can keep going even without them.
So it's about empowering those local communities to take ownership.
Exactly. It's about creating a system that can thrive on its own.
Richard's story is about so much more than just saving lions. It's about taking responsibility and working together to protect our planet.
It really is. It's a global message that resonates with everyone.
I love that. So how can we apply these lessons to our own lives?
I think it starts with being curious and looking for solutions. You know, look around your community. What are the challenges? What can you do to help?
It's about recognizing that even small actions can have a big impact.
Absolutely. And when we combine our efforts, we can achieve incredible things.
We have the power to make a difference. We just have to be brave enough to take that first step.
Richard's story is proof that anyone can make a difference, no matter how young or old you are.
His story is so inspiring, it makes me feel optimistic about the future.
I feel it too. We have the power to create change. We just have to believe in ourselves and each other.
You know, this whole deep dive has really got me thinking differently about conservation. You know,
Yeah.
it's not just about protecting animals. It's about, like, changing our whole mindset about how we relate to nature.
Yeah, it's like shifting away from that old humans versus nature idea
Right?
and realizing we're all actually part of this one big system.
We're all connected.
Exactly.
And Richard's story really shows that it's not about, you know, dominating lions or controlling them.
Right.
It's about finding a way to coexist peacefully.
And respectfully.
Exactly. And that change in thinking is so important if we want to have a future for both people and wildlife.
Couldn't agree more.
It's like we're finally realizing that we depend on the planet, for our own well-being.
Yeah, we need a healthy planet for ourselves and all the other living things on it.
And the Lion Lights Project is such a great example of how that can actually work.
Yeah, right.
Protecting lions isn't just about saving one species.
It's about so much more.
Yeah, it's about biodiversity and food security and even climate change.
It's all connected.
It's amazing how one simple solution can have such a big impact on all these complex issues.
It really is. And what's really cool is that this solution came from the community itself.
Yeah?
They weren't told what to do. It came from their own understanding of the problem.
And that's why it works so well.
Exactly. It's a solution that people actually believe in.
It's a solution that comes from the heart.
Yeah. It shows the power of community-driven conservation.
Right.
Listening to the people who are most affected by the problem.
I think we can all learn a lot from the Lion Light story.
For sure.
It gives me hope that we can find ways to live in harmony with nature.
Me too, even when things seem really tough.
There's always a way forward.
Yeah, ingenuity and collaboration and a little bit of open-mindedness can go a long way.
This has been such an inspiring deep dive.
It has been.
I'm leaving feeling both humbled and fired up.
Yeah.
We all have a part to play in protecting our planet.
Absolutely.
So what's one big question we want to leave our listeners with today?
I'd ask them, what challenges do you see in your own community?
Okay.
What simple but ingenious solutions might be out there waiting to be discovered?
I love that.
Remember, we all have the power to make a difference.
So true. Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
It was great having you. Don't forget to check out the full Planet Wild video for some amazing footage and learn even more about this incredible story. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.